What is up? Brilliantly on time as usual, punctual as ever. How's it going, Ghosty Steve? Nocturnal Diablo? I don't know what Steve was talking about cream, but I think I'll leave that one to him. Look, my now starting is when I start. You guys just don't know how this works. Clearly. Hey, McFig. Where is that? Where is it? Yeah, let's put it on. McFig, Xbox is dead since, what, 2016? For a dead console, it's doing alright, isn't it? 30 million sold. For a dead console, it's doing pretty good. Nope. My stream started exactly 2 minutes, but what? I wouldn't say exactly, but it started roughly 2 minutes before. Didn't you hear, McFig? Steve personally went to Cliff and asked them to put E-Day as a PS5 exclusive. I should specify that that's a joke. He didn't do that. Don't try and murder him. But I know he's thinking about it. And I did hear something about Gears actually today that came to my ear, which I think is kind of interesting. And I know this might actually break someone's heart. Sanchez, I'm feeling a lot better. The pain is more manageable now. And the swelling is still there in my leg and the stiffness. The antibiotics are doing their job. And hopefully over the next week or so, it should clear up. And I shouldn't have one leg at the sides of this and the other leg at the sides of this. Now, Steve wanted Marcus Phoenix to wear Borat's mankini and then run around crouching and shooting. He likes to get that rear view picture. He wants it like, he wants that full gyat. Mate, I don't understand, right? Why? I mean, I saw Alejandro today. I think who was it that was posted to him? I don't get it, right? I don't get it. Someone explain to me why every single PlayStation fan out there is trying to justify the purchase price of a PS5 Pro. Oh, look! It's selling more than a console that's had no upgrades. Oh, look! It's more this than that, and it's more this than that. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are you trying to justify your purchase? Surely you would say to yourself, man, I just spent $700 on a console. I'm super happy. I don't need to justify this to anyone. I'm going to get the best quality games playing, baby steps. And now that Concord might be coming back, baby steps combined with Concord, that $700 is crazy. Thank you. I will. Exactly. Be like me with my -8 pre-orders. I'm convinced though. D-Bash is definitely being infiltrated. He's the new Tim Dog. I just don't get it, right? How do you why are you trying to justify it so much? It just doesn't make any sense. It's just mind-boggling. Still working, Ghosty. PS5 Pro is like the more resistance is futile. I just don't get it. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all bought stuff in our time, right? Where it's been overpriced, but you don't care because you look at it, it looks good, you want it, so you buy it. You don't sit there going to social media, oh, I'm going to try and justify this so I make myself feel better. Like, who does that? Like, who seriously does that? Who spends hours of their day on social media trying to justify them going to buy something? If you're trying to justify it, you clearly don't want it. Oh, that sucks, Scorsty. That sucks. I think I've only done call work once. That life was not for me. I actually wanted to talk about Starfield. So the plan for today is we're going to be talking about Starfield. We're going to be talking about FragPunk. Going to get my son on in a little bit. He's going to jump in and we're going to be talking about FragPunk because he's been playing it a lot as a Valorant player, as a Overwatch player. To get some insights from him, I thought give you guys a chance as well to ask any questions you want to ask in terms of the game. So that could be some cool insight for you guys. Covering the case news that we had, a bit of the cloud news because that's weird for me. And Xbox is kind of doing really well in Japan at the moment. Obviously, I've only got a snapshot, but we'll go over that as well. But let's start off with Starfield. That's the beautiful place to start. I've spent maybe 20 hours plus now in Shattered Space, and I am really enjoying it. I can't actually get enough of it. I keep getting the urge to go back in. I finished the campaign. Campaign was good overall. With some sidetracking and stuff, you guys know me. If I see a shiny, I'm going to go and try and collect it. The campaign took me a little while to complete, but I wasn't rushing it like these idiots, and it's a good game. I personally gave it an 8 to 8.5 out of 10 for the DLC. I'm really enjoying it. Jonas, I don't know the answer to that. There's no information outside, there's no information being revealed for it at all. It's just really weird. I mean, I find it odd. I know people are saying that I'm bringing up a new narrative and all this and all that. The CMA ruling clearly stipulates that Microsoft is not to have it on xCloud. Now, if they've paid Ubisoft a bunch of money to get it, that's different. Or maybe the case between Ubisoft and Tencent and the Guillemot family. But we'll get into that a little more in a bit. But yeah, to me, Starfield has been absolutely amazing. And I've loved the new weapons. The rover's cool. All in all, it's a good update. The only issue I have at the moment, well, I wouldn't say it's an issue, a little bit of a gripe, is that on one of the quests, without spoiling it, I bring bad news, and one of the NPCs isn't very happy at the news I brought, even though I lied. And they should have given me the option to go to that person and tell them the truth while I lied to everyone else. I think that would have been like a little bit more. And if you can do that, I have no idea where the NPC is. And if you know what quest I'm talking about, you clearly understand what I'm saying. So I think, some of the quests and their kind of chains going a little more out there to cover, those little finite points, I think would have been, the icing on the cake kind of thing. From what I'm seeing, they don't go that extra length. They kind of, okay, we've got to this point in the story in terms of this quest. We're happy with it. We'll just cut it off there and not give you any choice to kind of rectify any broken bridges or amend some of those bridges. And I think that's a missed opportunity. I think that would have kind of put an overall closure on some of these quests, and that's not there. So to me, that was a bit of a letdown. But overall, it's been a lot of fun, and it's just got me. It's literally brought me more into Starfield than I've ever been before. Is Xbox in trouble? No, they are not. Why do you think they'd be in trouble, Mandalorian? I'm not sold on that, because if that was the case, why wouldn't they put Diablo 4 on xCloud? Clearly that's a game, it's really big, it's got a huge following. That would have brought people over to Game Pass Ultimate as well, right? I mean, the idea of this is to get people to to subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate to get xCloud. Now, obviously, I'm not saying Diablo is as big as Call of Duty, but it has a big enough following where it could have moved the needle. So why not do something like this and test it with Diablo 4 and only Call of Duty? I don't know. Something doesn't add up there for me. That's why Ubisoft took over control. But yeah, Xbox is in a good place. I mean, they're still kind of. How can I say? Xbox's big issue right now is that they are in such a huge transition period, and they've been in that transition period for a little while. ABK has actually sped up that transition period. Why? And honestly, if ABK hadn't landed with Xbox, their transition to what they're doing right now would have taken a lot more time, and it would have been a lot more gradual. So people would have kind of slowly but surely adjusted as the changes subtly came in. Because of ABK coming in, it's pushed their plans forward by 10 years. So they've kind of had to shift their plans forward by 10 years. And well, as consumers, we've now seen the realization of where they should have been 10 years from now. And it's taking a lot for people to adjust to it. Man, unless you're a mermaid, everything dies in water. Or a fish's liver, I guess. Hey, Sin, fellow greybeard. I mean, Metaphor Fantasia has been doing fantastic, right? I have no idea, Steve. Don't judge me. For 3,000 quid? You know what? What's up? Yeah, put it on. I'll tell you what. I'm going to use one of Steve's tricks. You give me a Macallan, and I'll give you a fine aged Macallan, and I'll give you that $3,000. Sweeten the deal with a fine aged Macallan, and we've got a deal. It's in the top 50, Steve. I probably wouldn't drink it. It opened up its first week in the top 50. Metaphor isn't on Game Pass. Six, actually. I think you've got your figures wrong there, Mr. Steve. But yeah, for me, Starfield has been great. I genuinely don't understand the hate it got. I'm just going around at the moment, clearing out the point of interests, and a lot of them are quite cool, interesting. Lots of bases to go through that are quite really well designed. I'm really enjoying it. I am. I'm genuinely enjoying it. I'm going to finish everything that you can do on Shattered Space, and then move back to the main campaign and go get my powers and start exploring more. For me, I bought Metaphor on... I mean, it was a no-brainer for me. If you buy a Metaphor on Xbox, it's Play Anywhere. So you can play it on either your PC and your Xbox. I love Play Anywhere. Hey, why so serious? Jonas, I'm more of an arcade racer, so I prefer Horizon to Forza Motorsport. I'm not a sim racer. So, you know, games like Scud Race, Daytona USA, Ridge Racer, those are my jam. Sega Rally. But games like Forza Motorsport, Gran Turismo 7, those sim games, they've just never been my thing. When I used to have good internet, I used to play games on GeForce Now and xCloud. Like, I couldn't. There were times where I just didn't want to install games on my Xbox, so I'd boot them up through xCloud. At the moment, my pleb internet doesn't allow that. They run, fine, but it still pixelates and stuff because of my pleb internet. So it's unfortunate. See, Sin, I think that the first the next big Square Enix game that comes along that's going to be multiplat is going to be very important. At the moment, it's all hearsay, conjecture, it's all talk, right? But when the next game comes and it's a buy-only game, that's when the true test will be put out there. And when you see, like, instead of Final Fantasy 17 selling 3 million copies, now that it's on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and it sells 9 million or 10 million copies, you've seen a real difference in sales. But if it doesn't move the needle above 3 million, then Square Enix will reconsider their plan again. So we'll see how that works out. But until the next big Square Enix game lands that's going to be multiplat, at the moment it's all going to be conjecture and just hearsay. I'm genuinely surprised that they haven't pushed it out in in more countries. I know they are pushing it out. They're trying to push and get it into more countries, but it's weird how it hasn't. Like, there are certain countries that would benefit from it a lot, and those are the countries you want it at, and it's not there, and it doesn't make sense. I just want to play Indiana Jones because I'm an indie fan. I love Indiana Jones. I know, right? Do you see how, Steve, do you see how when they come in, they have to try and justify and make themselves feel good because no one on PlayStation buys games? So they have to kind of try and justify it to themselves, just like they have to justify buying a PS5 Pro. They have to go and shout it out from the rooftops that, you know, this PS5 is selling better than this one, Pro is selling better than this one. So clearly I was in the right for buying one. It's like they're so ashamed that they're buying a PS5 Pro. They're so ashamed at how little their games sell, considering how many consoles they've sold. And they have to come around and try and justify it. That's how you know that they've hit rock bottom. What, the white box? No. But I did hear a little bit of tidbit news about what is it? Gears of War. And I've heard, don't hold me to this, but this is what I've been told, that 2025, Steve was partially right that the anniversary is going to get a Gears game, but it's not E-Day. It's the Gears collection. E-Day is likely going to be for the next console. And honestly, if they do a Gears collection on UE5 and it runs 60 FPS, because I do trust Coalition. Coalition are probably one of the best companies with Unreal Engine. So if anyone can do it, it's them. That's going to be awesome. I already knew what Wukong was going to be, Sanchez, which is why I didn't care for it. Now, my son, who's actually joined us at the moment, I knew he's the one that wanted it, so I actually bought it for him. What did you think of Wukong? Gameplay. What? People are complaining it's too hard. But was it a good game? What would you like? You finished it, right? So what would you rate it out of 10 overall? Oh, okay. So you do think it was a good game. It was just a bit too easy for you. And what was your frame rate? Because you're running a 3070, right? So what you're saying is nothing like the PS5 when it was hitting like 30s and 40s and 25s. And they can't hear you? All that time you spoke and they can't hear you. Oh, damn.
Great.
I know, right? Sorry, chat. They can hear you now.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Hello, hello.
Okay, so just to reiterate, he said game is too easy. He finds it super easy, but he gave it an 8 out of 10. So he did really enjoy it.
Yeah. So it was a good game all in all. It's just the fact that I think it was too easy. Like there's maybe 4 bosses in total that's difficult, but the rest are just like I've pretty much one-tried a lot of the bosses in the game. So I would give it higher if it had that bit more challenginess to it.
Right. But you said you was running on your 3070 on about 70 FPS on average.
Yeah, I was running it on high graphics, so on average I was about 70, 80 on high. Some parts in the game might drop a little bit, but for the majority about 70, 80.
Not bad. At least you got a good experience, like unlike some people. Like a lot of people were playing it at like 25, 30 FPS.
Sucks to be you guys then. What do you want me to say?
Wait, you wouldn't play it at 25 FPS?
If you paid me enough, I'll try.
Wukong.
Actually, because it's a Souls game, playing it at 20 FPS would be an absolute nightmare, even if the bosses are somewhat easy. So no, thank you. I'm good.
So I've got Mini on today because I know. Wait, what is going on here? Everything kind of just expanded for some reason, and I don't understand why. No. No. Did I just mess my...
What did you do?
What did I do? I did everything.
No surprise there.
Well, I'm not going to fix it now. I know what it is, but I'm not going to fix it. So I brought him online today with me because a number of people I saw were interested in FragPunk. This game. And I thought if you guys have any questions, I'll give you the floor at the moment, Minnie. Let us know what you think of the game overall. Since you are a Valorant player, you've played Overwatch, you've played Apex, you've played all sorts of games in that genre. What was your overall thoughts and feelings on map, design, characters?
I mean, yeah, so it is like if you I'm sure you guys have heard of Valorant, CS:GO, even Spectre Divide that came out not long ago. It is a game pretty much identical to that, obviously with your changes here and there, but it is that kind of genre of game. And I think for me, like I tried CS:GO, I never really got into that. Wasn't for me. Valorant was my main game. I had a look at Spectre Divide, but that didn't really pull me in. There was nothing to it really that like made me want to play it. But when I saw FragPunk, it just looked like a much funner version of Valorant to play, in my opinion. I mean, I've played it, and graphically it looks really good. The characters are all unique with their different abilities. The game feels quite smooth and fluent, especially with the movements. The whole card system is something that I actually really enjoy because it makes a lot of the different rounds different in a way, if you get what I mean. Like the cards in the game, you have to select some at the start of every round, and they can change the terrain, they can change what some of the guns do, they can give you buffs or boosts. So basically it makes every round different, which is definitely a good idea. But all in all, I think the game is definitely going to be like a contender when it's finally out, especially against Valorant, because again, same genre of style game, and there's a huge, player base for that type of game. So, and I think they've done everything correct so far. I haven't really seen any problems, any bugs. The only thing I noticed was the recoil system in the game, which is something I definitely wasn't used to. So that was something I had to try and get my hands around. And the fact that on controller currently on PC, players can play on controller against people with mouse and keyboard, but controller players currently have zero recoil when they use their guns. So they're 100% accurate pretty much, while keyboard and mouse players have to try and deal with that recoil system, which is something I think that's the only thing I've noticed they need to fix with the game. But apart from that, I think it's definitely a good game, and they're definitely worth a try if you haven't given it a go yet.
Any thoughts, chat? Any questions? To be honest, Bags, if it runs on 25 FPS on Xbox, I'd rather they didn't bother with it either. Steve asked a question apparently. How good are the change weather cards? Are they peak game changing?
So the weather changing cards, so you do have some so there's one for instance that makes the map all icy and snowy, which allows every player to be able to slide, which is quite nice. I think that's pretty cool because there's currently only one character in the game. I believe his name is Axon. He's the only one with a passive ability to slide. Every other character does not have that. So I think that's something that's pretty cool. There is a weather changing where there's grass everywhere, like it's quite tall, which allows for you to camp inside of that grass quite well. So on defense, I think that's a good like strat to use, especially if you want to use like shotguns in that bush. There are some that make the sites misty. There's one with rain that I think it does look really nice visually, the grass, even the rain. And the rain one usually gives one team like a buff, like extra shield if you're in that rain and stuff like that. And I think it is quite cool. Yes.
How would you compare it to Overwatch?
Well, they have different. They are both a different style of game in a way. So Overwatch is more you've got control, payload, those type of game modes. This is a bit different to that. I understand they have the same type of feel to with them both, especially with the character abilities and stuff. But I can't really compare them because they're not the same style of game. But
Okay.
if I said which one I would rather play, it would be FragPunk. That's what I would rather play over Overwatch. Not to say Overwatch is a bad game. It's just I prefer FragPunk's kind of style.
So this is the closed.
Overwatch.
This is the closed player test right now, right?
It's the closed playtest, yeah.
Do you think it'll last longer than Concord did? It lasted 14 days or 13 days before they took it offline permanently.
You're just insulting FragPunk by asking that question. So I'm not going to answer that question.
I had to ask. I had to ask. Someone's asking, is it better than Concord?
Again, insulting to FragPunk that you have to ask that question. But I'm going to answer and say, yeah, it is. Easily.
JB, yes. I just thought, because we got access to FragPunk like everyone else did, but my son is a Valorant player. So I think that's the closest thing to this, I believe. Would you say Valorant is the closest thing to this?
I mean, yeah, like I said, I would say Valorant is the closest.
So I thought because my kids play Valorant a lot on ranked level gameplay, and they're really good at it as well. I thought I'd get them on, and if people had questions or thoughts or anything they wanted to ask, it'd be a good opportunity to get those points across, and you could at least get first-hand responses from someone who's had experience with these type of games and can make a direct parallel comparison between FragPunk, which is the up-and-coming game that Xbox is advertising like crazy, alongside other shooters in the same genre. Thanks. According to Jeff Keighley, it's going to be nominated. It's going to be the nominations for Game of the Year. Yeah, Dustborn is going to win for sure.
FragPunk?
No, Concord.
Oh, Concord. Yeah, 100%. The game that no longer is even existing. That'll get nominated. Maybe for worst game of the year, but we'll see.
You mean quickest dead game of the year?
The quickest failure game of the year, maybe.
I've heard about Concord potentially coming back. There's a lot. I mean, if you look at the Steam charts, there's usually between 1 to 3 players that are still signing into the game and playing. So they're doing testing in the background. It's happening. So who knows? We could
I don't
be
know if it
seeing
can
a
be brought
revival.
back though. I don't think so. First impressions are huge. And if you have bad first impression, most people usually don't give it a second look. And they definitely messed up their first impression for the game. So I'm not sure there's going to be a good chance a lot of people are going to even give it a second chance.
Jonas, I'm happy that people are going to have a choice to play it. And xCloud is a great way for them to do that. Me personally, my internet isn't great. So even if I wanted to run it on xCloud, I can't run it on xCloud. I mean, I can't even run GeForce Now properly on my PC because of just how bad my internet is in this property. Hopefully when I move, that will fix a lot of the problems. You're excited for that, ain't you, Minnie?
I would kill for better internet.
Easy now. But yeah. So once we move, I mean, before we came to this property, I'd say about 50% of my personal gaming was done using cloud gaming.
Because it would be stupid not to use it with good internet. It would be stupid not to use it if you don't have if you have good internet. Just makes sense.
You see that? You see that, Minnie? Look what Steve's saying. He knows me. He knows me already.
What game is he talking about?
Any game. No waifus, no playing.
I mean, FragPunk doesn't have some bad women in there, so I think it's fine for them.
But you know I'm better than you at this game.
You've not even played it.
I could have.
And you didn't. Whose fault is that?
But I could have.
But you didn't.
And we don't talk about the details. We just talk about that I could have. You didn't play Team Deathmatch on this, right? Much?
No, I didn't.
Did you play it at all, or have you just been playing the ranked modes?
Mainly I've just been playing the ranked mode because why not? You know.
Fair. Pay-per-view family. Jonas, yeah, if you're playing on xCloud, then it is cross-play everywhere. There's no difference between playing it on an Xbox in terms of who you can play with and xCloud. xCloud is just an extension of the console. It's just you accessing the console instead of your own home. You're accessing a data center that has the console running. You see? That's what I'm talking about.
I don't think I got it from you. That's impossible.
Yeah, you didn't get it from your mum, that's for sure.
Well, I definitely didn't get it from you. I got it from myself.
Nah, the genes got to come from somewhere.
You know, try playing a Souls game and see how far you get. I'd be interested to see that. Like Lies of P, like they're saying.
Do you know what? Here's the thing. Twice on stream, I've booted up Lies of P. I have no idea where I'm going. It's been so long since I played it. I beat that that big walking machine in that kind of big hole in the industrial place.
Mm-hmm.
I beat that, climbed back up, and I paused it there. Like I saved my game there, and I have no idea where I'm going. I keep running around in circles. I spent like an hour trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go, and I can't figure it out. I actually want to continue playing that game because I really like it, but I just cannot figure out what I'm supposed to do next. And there's nothing telling me what I'm supposed to do.
I've played through the game, and there's to be honest, there's really like one direction you can go.
No. I was online, and even people online couldn't figure out where I was supposed to go. They just said they have no idea, and they've played the game too. See, it's not my fault.
I think it is your fault. I don't think you have a good sense of direction. That is not anyone else's fault.
Oh, I have a very bad sense of direction. I ain't even trying to defend that. But I did get fun. That is probably the only Souls game I've actually enjoyed. Where I'd go as far as saying I think it's probably one of the best out there. Because it's the only one I've enjoyed.
I think it's the only one you've tried.
No, I've tried Elden Ring.
I've tried Elden Ring.
I've tried Elden Ring. I've tried Bloodborne. I've tried a few others.
I'm guessing you didn't enjoy Elden Ring because it was too hard. That's probably why.
It was just boring. There was almost zero narrative. At least what makes Lies of P better for me is that even if
it's more storytelling.
There's story to it. So I don't mind the difficulty for it, as long as there's a story that I can follow. With Elden Ring, you're just going around for the sake of it and just killing stuff. I know there's probably a story in there somewhere, but if I have to go and start searching through annals and journals and, become an explorer and go to to Egypt and try and find the hidden pharaohs and their temples just so I can pick up a scroll just to be able to understand what the hell is going on in that game, then I can't be bothered. It would cost me too much money to fly over to Egypt.
I mean, I can understand that.
So for me, it's just not worth it. I mean, I need story in a game. If a game has no story and it's just, I mean, look at Gears. Gears is a good example, right? Gears 1, 2, and 3, really good stories. Gears 4, they kind of went a bit wayward. And on Gears 5, they just said, we don't care. You know, they just threw the manual with the story out the window and just said, onwards, my people, let's do this. And it didn't really work. Hopefully for Gears Z Day, they fix it. Everyone wants me to take him back.
Because Elden Ring was a good game. Because Elden Ring was a good game, that's why.
No, if you enjoy mindless running around and just fighting bosses after bosses and boss rushes, it's a good game. But that's not what I look for in games. And so for me, it was a bad game. But I wouldn't say it's a crap game. It's just a game that's not for me. For me, it's a bad game. But it's not a bad game in general, if that makes sense. By the way, Minnie, you know who Marcus Phoenix is, right?
Yeah.
You see that Steve guy in chat?
Yeah.
You've seen Nikkei, right?
Yeah.
So he wants Marcus Phoenix in a mankini in Nikkei shooting in that pose. Just saying. Do you know what? I've already earned my dislike for this week, so. But.
Why?
I don't know. You can ask him.
It's like he's looking for a way to scar himself for life, but just not do it in a. Oh, I don't know. Tries to scar himself for life without too much effort. Just put Marcus Phoenix in a mankini in that pose.
Yeah, he's a big Borat fan.
Want to put him in a... Okay.
Oh, that was funny. What is up with your brother?
What?
I don't know.
Well, what?
He's, I don't know. I think he's off on one again. Maybe he's Oreo's trying to chew in his cables again. Five was just not a very good Gears.
Gears of War 5?
We already know that Alan Wake 2 is going to be there. I personally think that Resident Evil 9 might make an appearance.
You think so?
I think so. In fact, let me skip over to that. Not there.
I mean, I don't care what anyone says. No game is above Alan Wake 2. No game.
You see, that's how you know he's my kid. Alan Wake 2. Yeah, so if we look at this. Capcom has just recently added Resident Evil 9 to the Metascore page. They registered it. So it's quite possible that we're going to get a teaser of some kind for Resident Evil 9 at the Xbox Showcase on Thursday. Which Minnie will be joining me, by the way. we'll be starting early, co-streaming it, and then he's gonna be on his merry way. I'm gonna warn you. If you haven't worked out, Steve is probably the one guy that absolutely hates and despises Gears of War. It's like the worst game for him. He has like a big bone to pick with it. He cannot stand it. He keeps giving them 0 out of 10. I keep telling him that's not justified. They deserve better than that, but I don't know, man. Byron, if they were smart, they would. But that's a big question. If they were smart. I don't see them smart. You see? 5 was trash indeed.
I mean, I played it, and I mean, it was. I guess it was okay, maybe, but I wouldn't say it was like good either.
But yeah, so we've got the Xbox preview partnership, which is this Thursday. It starts at 6 p.m. our time. So I finish work around 5:45. So we're probably going to be looking at a early start on Thursday at 5:45, 5:50 ish. It's going to be cutting it tight, but I'm going to have everything prepared for it, and we're going to kick off with the partner preview and probably stream for like 2 hours and call it a day. But hopefully some of you can make that. So it'll be a one-off thing this week where we start earlier than expected. He's offering you 50 quid. Wait, is he coming down? What are you doing?
It's just business. It's just
He ain't gonna give you the money.
Business. It's just business. It's just business. There you go. It's just business.
Steve, you owe him 50 quid. You gotta be a man of your word now, Steve. That was not a tickle. And no veracity was specified. My dude came straight down.
Listen, money's money.
It's just business. Don't worry, Steve. You can drop a £50 super chat and I'll give it to him. None of that was specified. See how mate, he's become another Unleashed. He's become another Unleashed. Oh, no.
Not a man of his word. Damn. Okay, see how it is.
But yeah, so Thursday, this is hopefully going to be good. I'm hoping to see Pragmata there. I know it's only going to be third-party games, so I'm not expecting anything overly... I'm not expecting anything from the Microsoft Game Studios. But maybe a surprise would be nice from them. But overall, we're going to see games like Monster Hunter Wilds, because that's coming soon. I want to see Pragmata. That's one game I do want to see. I would have added Everwild in there, but that's a first-party game, so that's not going to be there. Alan Wake's DLC is going to be there, so that's going to be cool. The first look at the DLC, so that's going to be exciting. But yeah, It'll be good to see. They also said there's going to be new games as well that's never been shown or revealed. So, don't know what those are exactly, but it should be interesting. Hey, Rabbi, how's it going? Do you think they'll do a Lies of P DLC? I mean, I know they've been talking about it. It's been in the works. That could make an appearance. Lies of P definitely can make an appearance.
Well, I think they'll probably do a DLC for it.
I mean, so on the presentation on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
it's only third-party games. No first-party games are going to be shown. So no, like Indiana Jones, Perfect Dark, Fable. None of these big games are going to be there. It's only third-party games. So there's a good chance like Resident Evil 9 could be there, and whatnot. But any games that you think that might be there, or you want to see?
Not that I can think of the top of my head.
I think there's a small chance that we might see Final Fantasy 16, though I think that's going to be next year now. But Final Fantasy 6, or if not next year, I think the Video Games Live Award at the end of the year is more appropriate for that. But 16 is a possibility. 9 would be nice. That would be a huge surprise. If 9 was showcased on the Xbox Partner Preview, then you know Square Enix is definitely all in. Like a Final Fantasy 9 remake or a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster, something like that, and you know Square Enix is all in on the multi-plat. I think Splinter Cell is still too far out, Gray. Tomb Raider might make some sense. I'm surprised, considering they've just released the anime, that they didn't really capitalize on that by releasing the game at the same time. But I don't know, maybe they'll try and continue to hype a little bit. I think it's a bit too soon, though. I'm doing that later today, Rabbi, after the stream. But yeah, it's 25 minutes, no fluff apparently, so hopefully they're going to cut the talking out altogether and just do a reel after reel after reel of just games. They're supposed to be like between 12 to 15 games. Baby steps. No, this isn't PlayStation presentation. Bags, it's Xbox. Oh yeah, it'll be funny. It'll be funny. Spider-Man remastered and Miles Morales to Xbox. The day you see something like that happening is the day everything starts to crumble down. I think every pony narrative at that point, I don't care what they want to say, will be over. I know, right, Bags? The kid came down. And I still can't believe for $50 you slapped your papa.
Listen, again, business is business. It's fine. Don't take it personal.
I'm taking it personal.
If you have anyone to be mad at him. He initiated it.
He didn't even give you the money.
I saw opportunity for money and I took it.
I'll show you an opportunity soon. But yeah, so hopefully Thursday that's going to be good. Again, we're going to be going live really early on And yeah, I think we're gonna push us be present as soon as possible for that one. So hopefully a bunch of you will be there because it should be interesting nonetheless. I'm hoping it's going to be fun to watch. Mate, baby steps will always compete with everything. It's baby steps. Kratos looked at baby steps and said, "You know what? The floor is yours." He may have beaten the gods of Olympus, but when it came to baby steps, dude had to bow down. Call of Duty, when does it release? Isn't it the 25th of October? That's a Friday. Next week, Friday.
You asked if you can live stream it for a little bit to see the game.
Oh, I probably will be live streaming it. I just don't know if it's going to be here or over at Twitch. But I'll let you all know that next week. The money was just about bonus bullets. He would never do it for free. I just fed him. There should have been some loyalty there.
Not going to confirm or deny anything.
But yeah, so Game Pass. This game is now on xCloud Gaming, which, we discussed about it a little bit earlier. I think it's, quite interesting because the CMA ruling stipulates that Ubisoft have it and they deliberately didn't want them. Now, I can't remember offhead entirely.
Thanks, Steve, for super chat, $13.07. You slap like a girl, so I adjusted the payment to reflect you slapping like a girl.
Did you hear that?
Hmm? Listen, there was no specification. There was no contract, no nothing.
There you go. Right?
I simply followed through with what I was told. There was no specification. I could have tapped him and it would have counted.
There you go, Steve. There you go.
Steve tipped £10 through super chat. You slapped like a girl, so I adjusted the payment to reflect you slapping like a girl.
There was no specification as to the veracity. There was still no specification. In contract, you need to specify.
You got to be very specific with what you want.
And you was not specific, my man.
It's not my fault. I just found a loophole to what you asked. See, that's just being smart.
Take it easy, J. Cola. I know, right, John? But I'm hoping that this whole news with Call of Duty going to xCloud Gaming will actually open the pathway for other games from ABK to also go to xCloud. It just strengthens the Game Pass subscription, in my opinion. Those people that just want to play Call of Duty or play Diablo through the Fire Stick can now do it. It just makes the proposition of Game Pass through cloud only just a much better deal. Not being able to play these games on xCloud, in my opinion, was a colossal blow for Microsoft. And it would, especially not having Call of Duty on there, would have been a big, big blow. And it's really good that they managed to do it, in my opinion. They managed to get it. I don't really care how they managed to find a loophole or workaround or how much they had to pay, whatever it is. I think there are certain games that are just worth doing, and Call of Duty is definitely one of them. Where should he send the IOU? Nah, he'll get his money. He'll get it. I don't know, Rum Punch. I'm not quite convinced that it's money either. See, here's my thought process, right? As of November the 1st, the Xbox app can run games natively and, well, not natively, but can play the cloud versions of them through the native app on your Android phone. Now, obviously, that's November the 1st. Now, I think what's happening here may have a correlation with that Google ruling that's allowing Microsoft to sell you the games on the app and for you to play them. Both of those pieces of news coming out back to back, I don't see as a coincidence. I really do feel like this ruling with Google Play Store has to, in my opinion, have some kind of connection to them suddenly being able to put it. I mean, the news came almost straight after the Google announcement with Microsoft saying, "Hey everyone, you'll be able to play all your games, purchase games. You'll be able to purchase your games and play them instantly on your mobile phone." A day or so later, you get the news with Call of Duty. I just don't see that. I see that too much of a coincidence. They're allowed to go to GeForce Now. It's allowed to go to every other service. The CMA just made sure that xCloud, Xbox customers couldn't have it. Which doesn't make sense, right? Because the CMA is supposed to be protecting the consumer. But what they're doing for Xbox customers is, we want you to pay more money because we don't believe in your custom. The CMA is actually instead of actually making a better deal for the consumer, they're actually making it a worse deal. I don't even understand how that works, where the mindset is for that. Like, they could have easily turned around and said, right, everyone, GeForce Now's getting it, everyone else is getting it, but xCloud can get it too. Like, where would the lack of, where would the hurting competition be there? I don't understand. Where would the hurt in competition be there? There is nothing there that would hurt competition if it's available everywhere else. If you look at services like Boosteroid and GeForce Now, they are actually cheaper than Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So it wouldn't even be a case of competition. So that doesn't make sense to me at all. The CMA just wanted to give Microsoft a bloody nose. But I think with this whole Android and Google thing, they found a loophole, and that's how they done it. I agree, Sanchez. This is what Microsoft was hoping for. And I think it's going to help them quite a bit going towards the end of the year. But what difference would that have made? Whether Microsoft is giving the license, if they're forced to give the license anyway, what difference does it make? I mean, the CMA could, in theory, even stipulate the cost on what they believe is an agreeable sum of money for the game, for the license. At the rate they're going, Sanchez, if the Guimont family don't buy them, you can bet you can bet Microsoft is eyeing them, because after this case, I know this was all but a joke of a case, the antitrust gamers lawsuit, which has now been officially deaded. They cannot come back to it. I do like how they came to a settlement that has not been disclosed, when it kind of has been disclosed. But good old Jeff Keighley has to do what he does best. I mean, technically, Rum Punch, what the CMA did was overstepping in so many different ways, it's beyond a joke. So one more overstepping would probably not be too far out their realm. Cloud gaming is in its infancy. There is no, it's so small compared to everything else. It wasn't the big deal that the CMA made it. Like, for them to turn around and try and use it to block a $69 billion deal, something so small as cloud gaming, that everyone out there still to this day says they would never use it. And if you look at polls, people cry about it and say it's rubbish, it's got bad latency, all this and all that. And there's no real evidence to show that people are actively using it more than they're playing native games or anything like that, or even a fraction of a difference in the playing. And people are still seeing, like, people using cloud gaming as a method to see if the game is worth downloading in the first place, rather than actually continuously playing through it. The people that actually use cloud gaming in general to play, like myself, we're very much the minority. So to try and use this as a method to block the $69 billion deal, I mean, that should pretty much tell you everything you need to know about the whole ordeal. It was just a way for the CMA to give Microsoft a bloody nose. And in the closing report that Sarah Cardell wrote for the CMA, she actually wrote in there that we were the only regulator in the world to stand up to Microsoft and get what we want. She actually wrote that in the final report. Basically, that was her gotcha moment to turn around to the rest of the world and say, we are all powerful. We aren't just here as, fiddlesticks. The UK is here to be counted. The whole point of it, because they were part of the EU for the longest time, they were under EU rulings. They didn't really have their own regulators. We only got our own regulators since Brexit. We only had our own voice since Brexit. This was the first real, true landmark case since Brexit. And they wanted to make a spectacle of it, to show the world stage that they exist. And that's exactly what they did on the most pointless point you could possibly find. And yet here we are. 50 megabits is too low. I've got 50 megabits and it doesn't run great. Even on xCloud, I'm getting pixelation. On GeForce Now, I'm getting pixelation or stuttering. My son tried to run... What was it that you tried to run?
Throne Liberty.
Thrones of Liberty, and it was stuttering every so often. At 100 megabit, I think that's a good enough point. You get like 100 meg down and 10 meg up, or 20 meg up, you're golden. That should be more than enough. Excuse me.
I think I'll head off for now, by the way.
Yeah, go for it, dude. Thanks
Alright.
for stopping by and giving us a bit of a rundown on FragPunk. I'm sure everyone appreciated that, and you know, if they would like to, you know, if there's other games, I'll bring you that you've tried out that are good. I'll bring you online and we can do the same thing again. Otherwise, I'll see you on Thursday. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Can they buy other publishers? I think that's still a bit too early. The FTC case still isn't over, but I do think that the CMA was kind of relying, not the CMA, the FTC was, I think this case was like a Hail Mary for the FTC. And now that this case has officially been deaded, like deaded in the water, as you can see here, pursuit rule of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, plaintiffs and defendant by and through their unsigned counsel stipulate and agree to the dismissal with prejudice, which means it cannot be brought back or appealed, of the amended complaint plaintiffs' claims in action. Each party shall bear their own costs and fees. That's probably the best part of this I like. So those so-called gamers now have to pay their own costs. The lawyers have to cover their own costs. And Microsoft will cover their own costs. But when they say with prejudice, it means it cannot be refiled. It is done. And I think the FTC, in some kind of weird Hail Mary, was hoping that this was going to go their way. And if it did, it would have given them a much stronger foothold. But with this now out the door as well, I think it's just a matter of time. I think by the end of this year, or at the very latest, first quarter of next year, the case will be done. And the 9th District Court will have to step in at some point and just make a decision. The 9th District Court openly said that they didn't want to decide this case for some odd, weird reason. And they're hoping that Microsoft and the FTC can work between them to find a resolution. The FTC turned around and said that they will not... The only resolution that they will be happy with is for Microsoft to give back Activision Blizzard King and basically divest, reverse the decision. And Microsoft is not going to do that. So they're at a stalemate. So it'll be interesting. Really bad latency bags can be a problem because if you press a button and it reacts 4 seconds later, that's unplayable. So latency is important. Yeah, I think GeForce Now has, well, when I was using it, had like a 3 millisecond latency, 4 millisecond latency. Unless you've got a super fast internet connection, Steve, then of course at that point it doesn't become that as much of a problem. Oh, right. You're a bit behind from what I'm saying. You might need to refresh your page to get a bit more up to date. You're quite far behind. I know. I often find GeForce Now reacts faster than my consoles do when it comes to latency. Punkalicious! Gears 5, I get 1 millisecond latency. Native is 3 milliseconds. Yeah, it's crazy. I find cloud gaming actually, depending on your connection and your location, because all of this matters, right? Your location matters, your connection matters, the weather matters, everything matters. How far you are from the exchange box matters. So there's a lot of variables when it comes to cloud gaming. But as long as you satisfy the majority, then you're in a good place. It's actually a good experience. Post Up over here decided that he's going to go to the nib school of ChatGPT and decided that he's going to write a whole essay. The important parts essentially are here. This just talks about the CMA still looking into cloud gaming and looking at it a little closer. They've been doing some research and documents and whatnot. But otherwise, this last bit here is the only other thing that's worth looking at. Ubisoft has already recouped the money it spent on Activision cloud gaming rights. Ubisoft paid between 50 and 100 million euros. So maybe Microsoft paid them 50 to 100 million euros? No, just kidding. Considering they're giving the licenses out to GeForce, Boosteroid, and a bunch of other companies, they've clearly made their money. Yeah, you can, Sandra. So you can run the Steam version, you can run the Epic version, you can run Battle.net now on Battle.net enabled games. You can run Game Pass games, and I think that's it. I mean, bullets, you're getting the 60 FPS version. It's good enough. Right? I mean, in one way, no, it's not. I mean, they do play. Boosteroid does actually give you access to PlayStation games, so I guess in that regard, it does have more compatibility. And I haven't really seen any issues running Boosteroid. So that might be something worthwhile. I wish I had better internet so I could actually explore these better. When I was trying Boosteroid out some time ago, it was in this property, and 50 meg connection just doesn't work very well. It doesn't really matter, Sandra, because the games are cross-save when it comes to PC and the PC version of Game Pass and the console version of Game Pass. So if you're playing, say, like Starfield on your Xbox, and then you want to run it through GeForce Now through Game Pass, your save will just be there because it's connected to Game Pass. So you're still playing the same game, just a better version of it. But then I'd have to be looking at, a bunch of mannequins of Marcus and Mankinis and stuff, and no. Yes, Steve, like I said, Steve, it does play PlayStation games. Did you guys see this beef going on? Did you guys see this? Believe it or not, Steve, though, about 2 weeks ago, we turned round to the council and told the council, as long as it's not outside of England, we literally don't care how far north we go. I mean, we said we didn't want Liverpool or Newcastle. Those two we stipulated. I don't think anyone wants to be surrounded by Scousers or Geordies. But I think everywhere else is fine, right? See, there you go. Even he doesn't want to be surrounded by Scousers. Can you imagine a Man United fan in Scouserville? I couldn't. It would be a war zone. I wouldn't even be able to leave my property. So, D-Batch over here still pushing on with the whole PS5 Pro. Why do people test me? I do not cap. All new games that are on the PlayStation platform must have a PS5 Pro mode enabled. I don't think he quite understands what that means. Just because it's going to be Pro enabled, it can literally have one feature enabled that does absolutely nothing, and that is still PS5 Pro enabled. Like certain studios and publishers were doing with the PS4 Pro, they were just basically enabling a feature that basically did absolutely nothing, and it was PS4 Pro enhanced. So I don't think he quite understands that logic. Once again, PS5 Pro will be the best. I mean, he's literally drunken the Kool-Aid for PS5 Pro. And so KMed says, I'm going to guess maybe it's because you capped for Xbox hard leading up and well into the current generation, if we're being 100. Listen, I do not cap. When I make mistakes, I correct them. I will never like you. Never like you. You are way too much of an a-hole. Chill out, man. I may be an a-hole, and that's why I like KMed, because he knows he can be an a-hole, but so can we all. But at least I didn't gain an entire fan base solely on rumors and lies. I sure as shit didn't get as a free advertising arm for $1 trillion corporation in hopes of getting some scraps thrown at me. And finally, I sure as shit didn't just hop onto the PlayStation train because my last ride isn't doing so hot. Oh, shit. So yeah, I may be an a-hole, but at least I didn't sell my soul for likes. Oh. Come on, that was brutal. I mean, it was beautifully worded by KMed. Because I think KMed is 100% right. The number of people that... I mean, and I don't care where you play your games, by the way. I don't care if you buy a PS5 Pro. If you've got the money and you want to play PlayStation games day one, the best they possibly can be played, that's your best option. Do I think it's worth the $700? No. But like I said at the start of the screen, you don't have to justify it to me or anyone else. You can buy something that is overpriced and still be happy with your purchase. Right? Steve, we've told them we are open to anywhere. And they still haven't found us nothing. Apparently there is nothing available that is council property. They are only looking for council property. They're not even looking for private anymore. They're looking for housing association, I think. Might not even be looking for that, potentially. Or council properties. And because we're a family of, 6, it's a little more difficult because of the size that we are. So we need a 4-bedroom. And they don't come often. And anyway, if you look at what Keir Starmer said, if you're a British citizen, you have less rights to properties than those that are not, which he said publicly. So that's a bit silly. Live streaming. Knock, knock, knock. Who's that? What was that for? Preemptive strike. And here's another one, just in case you decide to double up. JRPGs are finally coming to Xbox. But yeah, it's good to see people calling out the bullshit. I think that's really good because it's getting silly. But you know what, Sanchez? You're right. You know, JRPGs are finally coming back to Xbox, and something that I was just looking around Twitter today to see, you know, what the change of pace reaction has been to, you know, the Japanese in regards to how they view the Xbox. And so many, this is like the 15th, which is today. So many people have gone out and bought the new all digital Xbox, which is cheaper. This one over here, someone again buying the Series S, the 1 terabyte version. Another one buying the all white. So it looks like whatever Sony has done by trying to overprice their consoles and, you know, technically outprice themselves, Microsoft has stepped in with a cheaper alternative that is above the Series S, going all digital, and it looks like it's paying off. Right? These are all like today being posted. Loads of people are super happy with their purchase. And I think this is like really cool to see. You know, this sort of thing 5 years ago would have been unheard of, right? You know, this one, she's really happy because she wanted a second console so her and her partner could actually play multiplayer gaming, and now they can. And so they've got a second one. As you can see here. Stray. You got another one as well. So this new all digital Xbox seems to have won the hearts of the Japanese. And it just continues. And there are so many. In fact, because I was searching for these for so long today, the algorithm just decided that this was the only thing it wanted to fill up my wall. And now my timeline is just full of Japanese people buying Xbox Robot White Series X's, all digital Series X's. But this is the type of thing that I was saying. You've got the release of Metaphor, which was heavily advertised for Xbox in Japan. That's the sort of advertising that you want, and they advertise that aggressively for Xbox. Really aggressively. Games like that will sell a console. Those are the type of console sellers that you want. They've managed to get Genshin Impact on Xbox. Atelier getting their first game on there, and if it does well with Atelier Yumiya, you'll probably see the other ones. You've got Final Fantasy now potentially coming day and date as well. So that trouble with Square Enix is also gone. You've got Pixel Remaster already there. You've got all the big hitter JRPGs now coming along. Persona, they're all landing there. All they need now is some of the more niche games like the Yi series, the Trails series. Well, Trails is already on there, but the other Trails of the Sky games from, I think, Funcom. I think it's Funcom. Or it could be another company. But I think it's Funcom. But you know, the ones that make Trails of the Legends of Heroes and stuff like that. I can't remember their name now. But you need those smaller niche games to also come along, which from what I've heard, Microsoft is in talks with them at the moment to get those games as well ported over to Xbox. These games will do amazing in pushing Xbox in Japan. These are the games that they need. Now, if they can get a game like, you know, bring back a game like Scalebound, which was very appealing to the Japanese audience, bring games and get marketing rights for games like Pragmata, which will appeal to that audience as well, Xbox has a real chance to start to grow, in expansive ways in Japan, which is a very big growing market for them because they've got a lot of room to grow there. So this is all really big positive news for Xbox. And hopefully what this means is that more of these smaller niche Japanese JRPGs that are getting localized but are skipping Xbox will eventually stop the skip of Xbox. But all of this kind of big push is on the back of Metaphor ReFantazio. Metaphor really pushed these consoles, and that's just one game. Can you imagine if another big JRPG came along and they got the marketing rights again and they went aggressively advertise again? And Metaphor ReFantazio isn't even on Game Pass. So these consoles are selling for games that are not on Game Pass. That clearly shows you, and that whole bullshit narrative where Xbox gamers don't buy games, nah, they do. They just, if they're not available on Game Pass, they do. What are you talking about, Bags? Now, for the Western audience, I do think they do need some big hitting titles like Spider-Man and the God of War. I agree with that. I don't think they've really hit their stride with big hitting games like that are kind of story driven, that really just hit home. Ragnarok was poor, by the way. I'm talking about 2018. I still don't understand how people can give Ragnarok 10 out of 10. That game is so boring. Still need to finish it, and I will finish it, but my god is that game boring. That game is insanely boring. See, Fable is, how can I say? It's a really big game, but I think it has its audience. It's not a game that's going to appeal to the masses. Indiana Jones, I think, has the possibility, if it's a really good game, to really be massive. But it has to deliver on all fronts. See, I think Indiana Jones could be that God of War style game. Right? I think that's the game that could be. Obviously, it's a film license, so it's going to have a lot to prove. But I think a game like that, which has way more mass appeal, has a bigger chance. Fable is a good franchise. It's a good game, and I'm not going to shit on it at all. I enjoyed the previous games, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one. But it isn't for everyone. It doesn't appeal to a wider audience. It has its audience, and that's what it's aiming for. See, Sanchez, you might not need it, but there is a whole audience out there that does want it. And if that means that these games will help sell more Xboxes and sell more consoles, get more Game Pass subscriptions, that can only be good for the console, right? That can only be good for the ecosystem. The bigger the ecosystem gets, the more games come to Xbox, more games come to Game Pass. We as the consumers win. So I get you might not like it, and a bunch of other people might not like it, but there is a big audience out there that does like it. Hey, Chris George, how's it going? See, again, I don't mind remasters as long as they're like maybe 10 years old, 12 years old. When you start doing remasters of a game you released 6 months ago, I think I've got a little bit of a problem with that. But hey, if their consumer base is willing to buy it and willing to lap it up, then what more do you want? I think they're giving the audience what they want. They want slop, so they're gonna get slop. There's a multiple projects for Halo in development, so who knows? So Stellar Blade I thought was good. Rebirth, even the producer said it was average. He said, the next game that's going to come is going to blow it out of the water. Astrobot I enjoyed. Rise of the Ronin wasn't for me. I don't think it was fine. Helldivers I think was overrated. Wukong, it's not my style of game. You heard my son, he gave it an 8 out of 10. Silent Hill 2 I've got on PC, so I need to play that. That leads me on Halloween. There's still some time before now on the 31st. I haven't decided if I'm going to be streaming here or over at Twitch. I'm probably going to be streaming here on the 31st, which is a Thursday, so it kind of works perfectly. I'm thinking of playing Alien Isolation for those that are interested in hanging out on Halloween and just watching me, let's just say, not have a good time. I don't do well with horror games. But I do have Silent Hill 2 as well. So if people want to see that, we could do like a long running stream. I know it's like a 15-hour game, so I probably won't finish it in time, but we'll see. Steve, that's 100% true. Right? There is so much truth in that. There is no accountability. In fact, as you're seeing with the PS5 Pros, all they're doing is turning around and trying to justify their purchase rather than turning around and saying, look, this is really expensive. We know it is. And we want, Sony to know that it's expensive. But instead, you've got people that are out there trying to justify it to themselves and cap for it like they're being paid for it, or just using it as a springboard to jump from Xbox to PlayStation so they can get more revenue, more likes, and more street cred. And at the end of the day, if you enjoy both consoles, you enjoy both. It's so weird. We can watch you play Gollum. I thought you didn't want to watch Freddy Krueger anymore, Chris George. That's actually a really good question, Fantasarcher. That's actually a really good question. I think potentially, if they actually do, and in a really weird way, the Series X, let's just say, explodes in Japan, and it starts selling like wildfire. I think you can possibly see the next generation Xbox being pushed back, and the handheld being at the forefront of the next release. That's what I think. If Japan gets an unusually really big growth, which is really the only sector right now that they're doing bad in terms of no support whatsoever. If they see a big growth there, then it could actually change their plans for their next console. That's not a rumor. There is unannounced games, Chris George. Well, I guess it is a rumor, but Microsoft has already confirmed that they are going to be showing new unannounced games and new trailers. So hopefully that is going to be good. Mate, if he goes and if he's gone to preview Indiana Jones and he comes back and says it's good, I'm going to be so disappointed. It's going to be Redfall all over again. It's going to be Redfall all over again. And I'm going to be so heartbroken. Because honestly, this year right now, seeing as there's no Alan Wake 2 this year, Indiana Jones right now is my most anticipated game. I am a huge indie fan. And I really want that game to do bloody well. And I want it to be really, really damn good. And I will be super disappointed if it's a bad game. Don't you get bored, Slimy? Wait, is that the generic Eric? Is that the generic Eric? It can't be. No way. Mate, is Slimy Mucus generic Eric or X-Vault? I find Stalker 2 is an acquired taste, Bags. I mean, it could be Koala, man. I mean, you are right there, Steve. So if we rule out Eric, then it could be Koala, man. I mean, at this point, it could be any one of them, right? It could be any one of them. But Samurai Showdown, the rollback, now that this rollback netplay has been secured and it's been fixed, it's this Kellyanne TO spreading awareness of the first fighting game developed with 120 FPS gameplay, only on Xbox Series X and S. So for those of you that have 120 FPS displays at home, TVs, Samurai Showdown will give you that sweet, sweet 120 FPS, and it's coming very soon. We're going to be doing the campaign on the 25th, for sure. And I guess maybe on the 1st we could do some zombies. Or if we finish the campaign soon enough, we can look into that. Halloween, I'm playing Alien Isolation. We're going to play true horror games. And the game isn't... Oh, it is out on Halloween, isn't it? We're going to start off with Alien Isolation anyway on the 31st. And if we're doing zombies, we can definitely, if we switch up to zombies at some point, then we can definitely do like multiplayer and shit. Get people from the stream to join up. It'll be fun. But yeah, for those of you that are interested in this, good old Paris, Game Pass, best value in gaming, Call of Duty, coming on the 24th apparently. I think the early access doesn't involve the main campaign, so you won't be able to play that early on. You got Flight Simulator on the 19th, Stalker on the 20th, and my boy, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, landing in December. Honestly, I haven't. I probably should. I know for those of you that I know that Fear, I think the Fear, I'm not sure if it's Fear Free or the Fear Collection. I think it's like $5 in America at the moment on Xbox for a lot of people. It's worth checking out. Fear is a good game. I know it's backwards compat, but it runs at 60 FPS, and definitely a game you'll enjoy if you like first-person horror games. You got this one as well from Xbox Game Pass official channels. If you like this, the game will come sooner. So these are coming soon. Black Ops 6, Modern Warfare, Warzone, all coming to console, PC, cloud. Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone coming to the cloud. Ashen is coming to console, PC, and cloud. Donut County. Good luck on that one, guys. The Fractured Butthole is again coming to all three. Mech Warriors Clans. This one is big. Dead Island 2 coming to PC Game Pass. Now, does anyone know if this actually has cross-save enabled between Xbox and PlayStation and everywhere else? Like, if you've got the actual account set up, can you jump between the versions to play this game? Because I'll probably want to finish this on PC if I've got the chance. And of course you're going to get StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft on PC as well. Punkalicious. Dead Island 2. You know, like, Destiny is complete cross-save, no matter where you are. Like Warframe. I'm just curious if Dead Island has, like, the same possible thing. Oh, boo. That's boo-boo. But someone earlier was asking about Forza Motorsport. They're getting their update 13. That's coming. You're going to get a new drift mode, new track, Sunset Peninsula, available for the first time since Forza Motorsport 4. New options for practice and qualifying in private multiplayer races. 3 new free Mustang cars. 2024 Ford, number 25 Mustang RTR, and 2024 Ford, number 88. You get it. Additional upgrades for Forza race regulations, driver tar AI training ability. This will release mid-December. That's been there for a bit though, right? Sanchez? I mean, it's quite possible they paid nothing, Chris, if it's got any connection to the Android app being a gateway for them to actually jump in. So, Destiny Rising. This actually looks better than the core game. Has anyone actually seen this? It actually looks better than the core game. Let's just fix the audio because it might be too loud. That should be good. So this isn't your usual game. This is basically a mobile company, NetEase, making Destiny. And what's crazy is that NetEase are doing a better job, at least in this trailer, and from what we will see, in my opinion, than what Bungie is doing with the main game. I think it's absolutely crazy. It is based in an alternate universe, so it's not none of this will have any bearing on... Oh, this is not good. Okay, there we go. None of this will have any bearing on the actual canon storyline. This is mobile. At the moment, only available on iOS and Android. No worries, Gregor Puff. I've read it's actually set in an alternate dimension, alternate universe. I mean, I'm just going by what I read. I haven't done too much research into this. But it does look way better than the actual main game. It's got 6-player strikes, something Destiny console version, PC version could never do. It's even got a speaker. They actually decided that they're going to do it some respect and bring the speaker back. A female speaker, so definitely woke, right, guys? That's already a 0 out of 10. They got rid of the dude, Michael Nahi, and then they just replaced him with a woman. You have the option for third person and first person. Yes, you do, Ventura. No, it's mobile only. Android and iOS. That's a good question, Gregor Puff. It's a very, very good good question. NetEase are not known for their subtleness in microtransactions. They do go quite hard. At least the characters are good. You can clearly see, I mean, just from this picture alone, you can see that they didn't let Bungie have any interaction with the game at all. These outfits actually look cool. Right? They look cool. Something Bungie hasn't had anyone saying for the past 3-4 years. 6-player strikes. Is the speaker in a bikini? Noodles, yes, mobile only. For now, at least. I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to use like emulators to run it on your PC. No worries, Gregor. I mean, to be fair, the desktop version isn't light on microtransactions or transactions at all, right? I mean, if you're looking at this, so right now, 50% off. It's $150. So I'm guessing it's $300 for everything. You get the Light and Darkness collection, which is the final shape and annual pass. You get Lightfall standard, no annual pass. You get Witch Queen, which was alright. 30th anniversary pack, which is meh. Only real reason to get that is the Galahorn. Beyond Light pack, which was trash. Shadowkeep was trash. Forsaken pack doesn't even have this campaign in it anymore. You just get the location and only part of the location. I don't even think, yeah, because you don't have half the map there, so they took the campaign out. But as a new player that wants to jump into Destiny, that's an eye-watering amount of money. 150 because it's 50% off right now. Like, who in their right mind is going to pay $300 to jump into Destiny? Yeah, that's why they're saying standard pack. If you want the deluxe pack, you pay more. Red War is gone. Like, that is gone. That's gone for life. Destiny and D2 ruined me, like, gaming self. I played nothing but Destiny for years. Honestly, it was my go-to for everything. But they lost me after Forsaken. Shadowkeep and Beyond Light was rubbish. Forsaken is where they lost me. Witch Queen was good, but holy Batman was Lightfall bad. Lightfall was absolutely terrible. It may be there's Taz, but it still can be locked. Mysterious, for Xbox, we've got some cool stuff coming. We've got all of these coming this year. We've got CoD just around the corner. Flight Sim and Stalker releasing simultaneously, pretty much. And then Indie to wrap up the year. Microsoft has managed to get Black Ops 6 onto xCloud, which means you'll be able to play it pretty much on all platforms, whether it's your laptop, your TV, the Fire Stick, your console, the Asus ROG. It doesn't matter. Now that it's on xCloud, it's available for you to play absolutely everywhere. And that is great. We've got the Xbox Partner Showcase happening on Thursday at 6 p.m., which I will be here live early on Thursday to stream this with Mini Chaos. So we'll be checking this out together. We did talk about FragPunk today a little bit. My son came on and gave a first-hand review of how FragPunk is, and for people asked a bunch of questions with that one. And more or less, that was the bulk of it. Lots of Xboxes selling in Japan, which was really good to see. And of course, the gamers' lawsuit, which has finally ended. The vaulting was probably the worst thing that Bungie could have ever done. Them vaulting was just bad. That was just wrong. As long as it's not Indiana Jones. And I don't want it to be Stalker. And I definitely don't want it to be CoD. I'm sorry, Flight Sim. But yours a niche game anyway. So, I'm guessing you've all heard, and then this is probably going to be the final thing I end on today. I know it's a bit of a touchy subject, depending on how you feel about it. But the Roach King himself has decided that he's going to come out thinking he's untouchable, and he has been banned from Twitch. At least his personal account has been banned from Twitch. FTC's still about. Punkalicious. But I think the gamers' lawsuit will have put a blow on their aspirations. Put it that way. I really do believe that they were hoping that the gamers' lawsuit would have succeeded. And if the gamers' lawsuit succeeded, it would have given them at least more ammunition. The fact that this was actually now completely and utterly deaded in the water means that they're now running out of straws to grasp. And it's getting to the point where they're not going to have... I reckon if it's not finished or dealt with by the end of this year, the first quarter of next year, this situation will be resolved. And the moment it is, I pretty much guarantee Microsoft is going to announce that they're buying someone else. They're working on it. I guarantee it. So I'm not going to go into the details, but Asmongold said some pretty stupid things. And he found out that saying such stupid things will have consequences. Steve, are these friends me, myself, and Irene? This isn't his main channel that's gone. It's his personal Zach Raw channel that's been done. But he still had a couple of, a million subscribers on there. So. I don't know if he's been. It seems like it's a temporary channel ban, so it's not permanent. Though people are calling for a permanent ban on his account. Which game are you talking about, Bags? It's pretty rough what he said. It was to do with the whole Israel and Palestinian stuff, and it was really rough. Stalkers is supposed to be running at 60 FPS. It's supposed to be in a good place. It wasn't at the best place, but they had an extra 2 months to iron out all the issues. So I think they'll be fine. But yeah, he made a very, 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 very stupid claim. And he violated a lot of the TOS, right? That one thing he did violated way too many TOS. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But stupid is stupid. Bullets. Let's see. I mean, it looks like everything. He's not here anymore. He's gone. I couldn't be bothered with him anymore. He's gone for 24 hours. But I've got his name and he'll be permagon. I can't be bothered with idiots like that. You know, I gave him a chance for the past 2 hours. I think I was quite lenient. I can't be bothered with morons like that. Literally, the only object in life is to show their low PP IQ. You know, the IQ matches their small PP size. And, well, I don't have time for that. Not everyone has an IQ of 3. And I'm being generous giving him a 3. He's probably got an IQ of 2 to match his PP size. free, as in single digit. So is there anything else anyone wanted to actually talk about? We've seen some great advertising from Microsoft, which has been good. I think the Call of Duty advertising around the US, I think it was Times Square, was a massive missed opportunity. I don't understand that one. I actually don't get that one. You're playing Final Fantasy XIV online on the Anasa data world. Enjoying Heaven's Ward is a great expansion. Have you gotten... There's a few people that depart to the Netherworld in that expansion. I don't want to say their names in case you haven't got that far in the story. But there's some really tragic points in that game. From the board shop. I mean, that works. I don't think it'll take Apple, Google have with the games. Not long. The regulators aren't heavy-handed with Apple yet, but they will be. And Apple, like Google, won't have anywhere to turn. It'll come. Right now, they're focused on purely on Google. Yes, Devastator. That is exactly true. And it's going to be big. Do you see Sony becoming the new Apple? I mean, they kind of already are, right? Show me another company outside of Apple and Sony that can make a brick and it will sell in infinitesimal numbers. Right? Show me another company that can make wheels for a PC that you can go and buy for £2 a piece at your local hardware store, but they sell them for £200 a piece, and people buy them because it's got the logo on it. Nah, I don't even think Nintendo has that pulling power. I don't even think Nintendo could release a Portal and it would sell like that. What Nintendo has is crazy fans and crazy fanatics. That they do have. I don't think anyone can deny that. But in terms of actual brand, they don't have the same brand as thing. Sony and Apple, their kind of brand awareness is crazy. At the end of the day, it's consumers, right? If the consumers are willing to buy into it, and don't forget, since the PS4 era, it's the introduction of the ecosystem. So once you buy into an ecosystem, it's very hard to come out. If you've bought into the Apple ecosystem and you've bought all their products, you bought apps and shit, and you've spent a hell of a lot of money into that ecosystem, it's very hard to switch over to Android because you'll have to kind of reinvest and buy all that stuff again. So it starts to become very unattractive. So Sony just got really, really lucky, and Xbox were really, really stupid with their Xbox One launch. And it cost them dearly. Really badly. The whole DRM and Connect, that smacked them hard. And they paid the price. It's really that simple. Nintendo is just that weird kid in the corner that does whatever they want and gets away with it. That's who Nintendo is. Right? Look at it. As soon as I muted that guy, he goes and posts this. I knew it was him. I knew it. That was like 10 out of 10. I could tell. It was written all over his words. I am a gamer, bags. I think this will be the final thing I mention. What do you think of this? Apparently, there was a Master Chief Halo collaboration that was supposed to work. That was supposed to come to Modern Warfare 3. That never became a thing. But apparently, it was in development. Would it have been cool? Didn't the PS3 have a terrible launch at 700? It did, Sanchez. And the only reason they really took over, outside of, towards the end releasing some really good games, is Xbox stopped production of the 360. So stock ran out. Until Dawn sold 28,000, I think 28,000 less than Concord. It actually sold worse than Concord. That's crazy. It sold worse than Concord. One simply doesn't sell worse than Concord. But at least it lasted longer. I'm not sure how many it sold, and I remember the 25,000 being thrown around, but it is confirmed to have sold less. Well, obviously, bags. No, it's 28% less. It sold 28% less than Concord. Or 28,000. But yeah, I think this could have actually been pretty good. A really good collaboration, but it was not meant to be. I do think Concord is going to come back as free to play. Yes, you don't spend 400 million and throw it away. They're gonna want to give it another chance as free to play. Because not everyone has the OG version. And the only reason Until Dawn Remake exists is because they're making a sequel. Wukong, probably not. I don't think that game will be coming to Xbox anytime soon. I think, honestly, I was asked this question earlier. Trilogy, the Final Fantasy VII trilogy, definitely not. I don't expect that until the trilogy is complete. As for 16, there's a very small chance, but to me, the partner's presentation isn't a big enough stage. That's going to be for either the end of the year or Summer Games Live. See, Astrobot was a weird one, right, Bags? Because they... See, again, that's not entirely true. The Insane Trilogy sold 20 million. And I don't know how many each individual one sold, but the trilogy comes in one packet. I know Astrobot hasn't sold 20 million. The talk about it outselling Ratchet and Clank, that's not, though technically true, yes, that's also not really fair. You couldn't buy a PS5 at the time, so I think that was a real hindrance to the PS5 and Ratchet and Clank actually selling any games. You couldn't buy a Series X or a PS5, so yay! I sold more than a game that actually, couldn't actually sell itself because it didn't have a console out there to buy because scalpers were buying every single version of the console before they became available again. So that's two that they mentioned. I guess Psychonauts they can have because that was it's a good platformer, but whatever. So I think there's a lot of fiddling around with numbers to come out with a statement like that. There's a lot of dishonest truths in there just to push Astrobot to the top. I mean, we're not talking about cost, we're talking about sales. Ratchet and Clank couldn't sell if it doesn't have a console to sell. That would be the place that's going to have the most eyes. Final Fantasy 16 is a big game, and you want the most eyes on there. There's only a few shows out per year that actually allow that with Xbox. You've got the Summer Games Live, you've got the Video Games Awards, and you've got the Xbox Showcase. Those three are the only ones. The Gamescom and Tokyo Game Show and these little developer directs and stuff, they're not big enough to show really super big third-party games. You want like a lot of eyes watching, and those three are the only ones, in my opinion, that work out for it. But I could be wrong, and we could see it on Thursday. Like I said, there's a small chance that they can do it, but I don't see it. Thursday would be a really good time to show the handheld. Especially now, Sony has increased their price in Japan, and consoles are now selling in Japan as well. Introducing the handheld as a thing and saying 2025 Christmas, this will be available, and it will complement your hardware. So you can start on your console, and then leave with your handheld. That sort of thing would think. And if the explosion, if Japan continues to sell well with the series consoles as it is doing right now, because a lot of people are picking them up because of Sony increasing their price of their console and Microsoft not increasing their price, this could be a good opportunity. But again, though, in my opinion, they will probably wait for the Game Awards to show it off again. But that's not a platformer. So like I said, I think Chris String, he likes to fiddle numbers like a wordsmith. And yes, technically it sold more than Ratchet and Clank, but that's not fair. It's like me turning around and saying, I ran faster than that dude over there because he has one leg and no crutch to run with. I still beat him. I mean, if we're okay with that comparison, then yeah, sure. They outsold Ratchet and Clank. But Astrobot is a good game, and it deserves to do well. Not really, Derek. But there could be some really good multi-platform games. I would be literally screaming if they announced a Nier Automata 2, for example. I ain't give two shits. They announced Nier Automata 2 and that's it. You won't even have to drop super chats. You're going to see me jumping and dancing for joy. I don't see Astrobot going to PC. I will stand by that. If it does, I'll say I was wrong. But I don't see it going to PC. Bloodborne hasn't gone to PC. Demon Souls hasn't gone to PC. Now, Astrobot is different. Astrobot is different, in my opinion. That game was tailored for PlayStation. That game was pretty much built for PlayStation fans. I mean, you're talking about the hacked version, right? Not legit. You need to give my son 40 quid first, mate. We don't bet with you. You said 50. And then change the rules after the bet. Can't do that anymore. But anyway, folks. That's going to be the end of the stream for today. On Thursday, we will be back early. The live stream for Xbox starts at 6 p.m. So I'm going to try and be here about 10 minutes before. So we're going to start earlier and probably finish earlier than usual. Like, we're not going to go till 10, 11 o'clock. We're probably going to finish a little earlier. But hopefully the presentation will be good. There's a bunch of stuff that we can talk about. And we'll have a good time. I felt it. It was a slap. It was a slap. But folks, that's it for tonight. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I will catch you all next time. Peace out, folks. Remain legend. You see, Astro agrees with Gregor agrees with me. Peace.